Good morning, Gospel Life Church. I hope you all are doing well. I have the devotional for this week. I'm currently traveling on a work trip, but I have the devotional, and the word today that we're going to read from is in Colossians. We're going to read Colossians chapter 3, verse 1 to 11 here. If then you have been raised with Christ, seek the things that are above, where Christ is, seated at the right hand of God. Set your mind on things that are above, not on things that are on earth. For you have died, and your life is hidden with Christ in God. When Christ, who is your life, appears, then you also will appear with him in glory. Put to death, therefore, what is earthly in you: sexual immorality, impurity, passion, evil desire, and covetousness, which is idolatry. On account of these, the wrath of God is coming. In these too you once walked when you were living in them. But now you must put them all away: anger, wrath, malice, slander, and obscene talk from your mouth. Do not lie to one another, seeing that you have put off the old self with its practices, and have put on the new self, which is being renewed in knowledge after the image of its Creator. Here there is not Greek and Jew, circumcised and uncircumcised, barbarian, Scythian, slave, free, but Christ is all and in all. And the one thing that stuck out to me, in the second part in verse 5, where he says, "Put to death, therefore, what is earthly in you." And then he goes on this whole list. He says, "In these too you once walked when you were living in them, but now you must put them all away." One of the things I jotted down here is that you can only do this, what it's saying in verse 5 or verse 8, if what Paul says in verses 1 to 4 is actually true in your life. So, if then you have been raised with Christ, seek the things that are above, where Christ is seated. So he starts off, if then you have been raised with Christ. So that's kind of the prerequisite for doing what comes to follow. What he tells us in these later verses: for you have died, and your life is hidden with Christ. When Christ, who is your life, appears, then also you will appear with him in glory. And this was a good reminder to me. I'm around a lot of work colleagues, and the world just needs the good news of Christ. And it's interesting to see and hear people talk, maybe the way I used to live, or used to talk, or was comfortable talking before the Lord really got a hold of my life. And it's everybody needs Christ, and it's a good reminder that our life is hidden with Christ. And if that is the case, we are called to live differently. We are called to imitate Christ in everything and model that for other people, because it is it's very easy to shine for the gospel when you are around a lot of people who do not know the gospel. We had there's a new guy that was hired here who works at one of the facilities at my company in Alabama, and he sat down next to me and we started talking, and immediately I knew, I was like, this guy knows the Lord. So we started talking, and fantastic guy, but just the way he carried himself and the way he talked and the way he interacted with other people, it was just an encouragement to see somebody new guy, new face, and I think it was encouraging for him to connect with me and just see that it's possible to live out your faith in the secular workplace, and people notice it. They do. So it's an encouragement to put to death, therefore, what is earthly in you: sexual morality, impurity, passion, evil desires, and covetousness, which is idolatry. On account of these things, the wrath of God is coming. And that is, we need to put to death those things. And they always want to come back up, right? It's like that corpse of your old self wants to continue to come back to life. But through God's grace and the power of the Holy Spirit, we're called to not live in those things. So I hope that you guys have victory this week over any sort of battles or struggles you might be having. And hope to see you guys soon.